Namaste. Welcome. What I've just demonstrated is the practice of the Khechari Mudra. Khechari Mudra is one deep and advanced, definitely powerful method of processing subtle energies. Although I have to say that the bandhas and the breath regulation, the pranayama, they are more, I would say, they are more potent. They are many more times powerful, because the Khechari Mudra is just one way for us to manifest the bandhas and the different breathing methods that we do in the practice. When the bandhas and the Kundalini energy, together with your nadis being open and sensitive, then the practice of Khechari Mudra just becomes like an ordinary method, just like an asana. We utilize the bandhas and the many breathing patterns that we practice in yoga for us to process our energies more. The technical aspect of the kriya, I was demonstrating it with my mouth open. It's maybe just 10-20% of the whole experience. The technical aspect is actually easy to learn, especially when you are at the stage of your practice that the Kundalini energy is flowing out abundantly already, and you're able to lift that energy higher up the upper chakras, especially the chest, because the Kundalini energy after the chest region, it will make its way up to the neck, and then you will feel the readiness for the practice of Khechari Mudra once you feel the pulsation, the magnets or the electrical magnets accumulate around the jaw, inside the mouth, gums and the teeth. Although there are alternatives to Khechari Mudra to serve the purpose of lifting that energy up. Alright. Khechari Mudra, there are deep energetic realizations, but it's not as powerful as, for example, compared to the bandhas. If you develop your bandhas and combine the bandhas, utilize the bandhas in the practice of pranayama. When I was demonstrating it with the mouth open, I was exerting more force, but in actual practice it is very subtle, very precise inside, but very deep, because inside you are processing really subtle energetic forces. Alright. One of the aims of Khechari Mudra is for us to unite the two powerful forces that flow through our system. One is the prana, the universal force coming from the outside through the process of the inhalation, and one is our own energy. I'm talking about the Kundalini energy already, which we cultivate and produce ourselves in the practice. Thus, before the practice of Khechari Mudra, we need to develop and really make use of the bandhas. Really, the bandhas are the fundamental requirements for us to really know and process and refine the Kundalini energy first. Alright. So thus, without the bandhas and without the Kundalini energy present, the Khechari Mudra should not be practiced at all. Alright. Now, so what happens there? Alright. Because we aim to combine these two forces inside the brain. Alright. So the prana, this force coming from the outside, is actually passive. Normally it just enters our system through the process of inhalation, exhalation, and to nourish and sustain organs. And we don't have to actually think about this because it's one of the functions of our bodies, and this is the gift, our energetic gift. But the Kundalini energy is something that we are not commonly given the, I would say, the ability to feel. We have to develop the Kundalini energy. Alright. Although everyone possesses the Kundalini energy, but normally in a dormant state. down the hips. And then once we're able to allow her to flow out, she has this rising behavior. And then this prana, which is coming from the outside, has this downward behavior. So they meet somewhere in the body. And in the practice of yoga, without us doing the Khechari Mudra, one of the most potent ways for us to blend these two forces is by combining the bandhas together with breath regulation, either the alternate nostril breathing with retention and the Ujjayi breath. And then we can blend them here around the chest region, which is the healthiest, I would say the most calm and the most peaceful place for us to unite these two forces inside our body, around the chest area. So it's something which brings about all the good qualities of the heart. And that's enough. That's really enough. Even the book now says that the dwelling of energy is right up the heart space, the lotus of the heart. All right. However, we can even direct the energy higher up and then unite them inside the brain. So that's one of the I would say the energetic significance of the Khechari Mudra. All right. So what happens there technically? The tongue, will fold backwards and up. All right. So the tongue, physically would, create this barrier between the frontal part of the nasal cavity and the back side of the nasal cavity. So for example, this is the pathway of the breath, the nostrils behind the nasal cavity. All right. So what we're going to do is we allow the tongue to slide up there, to separate the front and the back side of the nasal cavity. So what passes through the front of the nasal cavity now would be this prana, that we inspire. So when you inhale the breath, the gaseous air, you can feel it actually, the cold sensation. It's dry, it's passive, it's cold, passes through the walls of the nostrils. When you direct the breath to even go higher up here, you can feel it. You energize the frontal lobe of the brain. All right. So in the practice of Nadi Shodhana, that is easily felt. Yes. When you do your alternate nostril breathing, you can feel that here passing through the walls of the nostrils before it descends to our lungs, and then there you do the other energetic process involved in the practice. So now that's where the prana actually passes through. And one of the goals of the Khechari Mudra is to direct the breath to rise inside the brain. All right, so you pass that breath to the front, right? The tongue is here. It separates the backs and the front. So you allow the breath, the prana, to rise up and then enter the nervous system inside in the brain. Now, what happens at the back? So at the back, you do another breath pattern. So I would normally do the Ujjayi breath, right? Because one of the I would say energetic elements, components, or practice of the Ujjayi breath is for us to draw on energy higher up. Because this Kundalini energy comes from the hips, right? So when you do the Ujjayi breath, so you allow that energy to rise up through the suction of the bandhas. So you allow that breath now, through the Ujjayi breath, now to pass through the backs of the nasal cavity, at the backs of the tongue, so it passes through the backs, and it enters through the backs of the neck, where there we have the medulla oblongata, and then it goes inside the brain. So the tongue there, becomes like the separation between the prana and your own Kundalini energy, and they blend inside the nervous system. All right, so that is one of the most important energetic requirements of the Khechari Mudra. All right, and at the same time, all right, secondary would be you narrow the pathway, because the tongue there would have to slide higher up, Yeah, so you narrow the pathway. Yeah, thus when you're able to lift the prana already and the Kundalini energy higher up the brain inside, you seal. Yeah, you seal the pathway. You can find the energy, and then it's not technically the tongue that seals the pathway. It's the bandhas, especially the Jalandhara bandha and the subtle bandhas we hold around the neck, inside the mouth, the jaw region, which would, yeah, close the seal. It's a suction. It's an energetic suction. Yeah, similar to how you apply the bandhas in the lower part of your body. For example, the Uddiyana bandha, how you utilize the Uddiyana bandha in processing your Ujjayi breath, something like that. It's just that you're doing it inside the mouth, around the neck region, around the backs of the throat. Yeah, so the bandhas, the Jalandhara bandha and the subtle bandhas here together with the tongue, yeah, narrowing the pathway, all of this, yeah, would accumulate and flow to the center line. Yeah. So the magnetic suction, yeah, will close the seal, and then while you're confining the energy there, you stimulate, yeah, the walls, the fold behind the backs of your uvula. Yeah, so because when you lift your tongue up there, so there will be a fold, and you stimulate. You can even go to the right channel, the left channel, either pingala. There are really like channels there, right up, really high up the backs of the nasal cavity while you're confining the seal. And then you do your Ujjayi breath, yeah, to further the rising of the Kundalini energy up. And then when the pressure gets heavy, you release the technique, and then you redo the process again. All right. So without the understanding of the energetic components of this Kriya, it's pointless to practice. It's really pointless to practice. Worst, this could cause energy overload if the bandhas are not present to regulate, yeah, the amount and the levels of energy that we allow, yeah, to remain inside the nervous system. So even the breathing patterns that we apply in the practice of the Khechari Mudra would have to be distinct as well. So in the practice, we are applying this gentle passive inhalation, a light inhalation, so we could, yeah, refine, yeah, the light and cold sensation of the prana to enter through the walls of the nostrils, behind the nasal cavity, and then right up here. So it's light. Yeah, so like you're just breathing through the surface. That's the first. The second breath pattern is happening behind. Well, the way I do it, I will utilize the Ujjayi breath. Yeah, but you can do Uddiyana bandha. Sometimes I do Uddiyana bandha, but the Uddiyana bandha could be quite intense. So the Ujjayi breath is milder, it's more subtle. And then when you do that second breath pattern happening behind, so you allow your own Kundalini energy to pass through the backs. Yeah? Yeah. What passes through the front is the prana through, you know, the application of a light passive inhalation, and then the other one, yeah, passing through the backs of the throat, yeah, when the throat is between, yeah, and we utilize a deep drawing up breath called the Ujjayi. And then these two, yeah, separate and distinct techniques, yeah, we blend them in one big technique, and then there, yeah, Kundalini energy here, prana here, and they blend inside the head. Right. So that's how complex, yeah, the subtle requirements, you know, the energetic requirements of the Khechari Mudra. So without us really feeling all of these manifestations in our body first, then there's no point of processing the energy inside, because the way you will manage the energy would be the same, yeah, with how you manage your Kundalini energy when, yeah, she is still lingering down the bottom regions of the body. It's just that, you know, when you're now ready to lift her up here, and then you combine the prana coming from the outside and they blend here, yeah, we know, yeah, how to control, yeah, we know how to regulate, and we know, yeah, our limitations. So I have to be very clear as well that when I say flow the breath, I do not mean the gaseous air, but the energy itself, which is a sensation. Right? The bandhas becoming too efficient already, processing the breath. So we could detach the energy, which happens as a sensation, from the gaseous air. Definitely the gaseous air goes down to our lungs, yeah, but it's the bandhas processing the breath. So we could separate the energy from the air, and the energy, yeah, when we're able to process it, becomes a sensation. That's what I mean when I say energy, that we allow to rise up, our Kundalini energy, and the prana, the energy coming from the outside, we allow to enter through the front side of our respiratory system to blend inside the nervous system. All right, would the Khechari Mudra awaken the Kundalini? All right, no. Yeah. Although for some people who are energetically sensitive, you might experience that random episode of like energy overload. Yeah. Well, it could be the Kundalini energy randomly rising inside the nervous system. But for me, awakening the Kundalini is something that we could, yeah, do well. All right, so something that we develop over time, that it's already there, flowing abundantly. It's not just a random or one-off experience. For me, that's really the essence of the Kundalini awakening, that it's already there, flowing abundantly, and we are in control of her presence. Now, to refine the experience, we do advance kriyas or mudras, and one of them is the Khechari Mudra. So we can further, yeah, the processing of the energy, know the nature of the subtle bodies even more. Now, I'm a yoga teacher, I'm a teacher of meditation, so it's my nature. If, for example, I would realize and learn a deep energetic experience from the practice, then I will translate them to some meaningful lessons for my students. But yeah, if, for example, our goal is just to promote this healthy flow of energy through our system for health and wellness, then Khechari Mudra is really not necessary, because the bandhas and the breath regulation that we practice in yoga, if you just develop them, really over a period of time, they will really lead to deep energetic realizations, and one of them includes the Samadhi. Again, Khechari Mudra is not merely a technique, it's the understanding of the many energetic elements and all the processes happening inside the system, which will make the practice of Khechari Mudra meaningful for us. Till the next time. Namaste.